All right, welcome. My name is Daniel Cowan. For those who don't know me, I'm founder of Big Star Lights, and this is our Pro Installer Connect webinar on, and the topic for today is off-season decor and how to transition our holiday light business into a year-round service. So we're going to talk about a few ideas about what you can do in the off-season. I do also want to touch on what we can do in terms of activity in the off season. It may not be the actual installation happening in the off season, but there's a lot of work and groundwork that can be done in the off season. So we'll cover how to attract high value commercial and event lighting customers. And then we're going to talk about what year-round installation services drive the most profit, and focus on those, because I mean, there's lots of shiny objects out there, everyone, and it's important to focus on what's going to generate the most bottom line. Also, we'll talk a bit about pricing strategies for permanent lighting, so we'll touch on that a little bit, and then we'll look at upselling, or we'll talk about how to upsell your summer light installation services to your existing customers, because a lot of you already will have a really solid set of customers online already. So let's talk a little about sales. This is a big part of sales. And this time of year, your focus should be on sales for commercial. These are big ticket items. This is your opportunity right now, between, all the decision makers are deciding right now and up until about midsummer on how much money they're going to spend on their commercial property. So this is where you can turn your $1,000 average job size to, you'll see contracts upwards of 6 figures. I've personally been involved in $500,000 contracts before. So they do exist, and they absolutely change the fabric of your business. If you missed the last webinar that we had, which really focused on commercial sales, I encourage you to have a look at that. One of the things we talked about there is, as a first step, is just registering for RFQ notifications. So this is request for quotes, sometimes called RFP, or request for proposals. Every municipality has them. Talk to purchasing, get your name on the list. If any lighting decor comes up, you will be notified. And quite often it's free. There's paid services around this as well. These organizations are happy to get more quotes out there, so, and put you on a list. The other thing is build your own list of opportunities. So if they don't do RFQs, might be a smaller business or a hotel, restaurant, malls. Like there's so many different types of places you can go to. They can be golf courses, auto malls, plazas, business improvement associations, which is kind of like the HOA, but for businesses. There's so many. And so I would build that list and then lock in who you're going to approach and start cold calling. Show up, you can do cookie drops. You can do bring a brochure, give it to them. Obviously, these are very photocentric brochures. And then if you have an existing commercial customer already and you want more commercial work, just ask. This is one of the most underutilized sales tactics out there. If you want more work, just ask for it. It's a good chance that your customer will know other people in their group of contacts that would be interested in the same type of work. Attending trade shows and events can be effective as well. And you don't even have to actually, be have a booth at those trade shows. You can just show up and just walk around and start talking to people and handing out business cards. Costs you nothing, or maybe $20 for the access ticket. But it's a great way to network as well. You can also join business groups too. Business groups include chambers of commerce, and things like that. just a network. While we're talking about commercial, we're remiss not to mention illuminated sculptures, and this is something that can be done this time of year to sell for the off season or sell for the peak season. We generally close these orders by about May 1st in order to make shipments that we have coming across in time for the season. However, we will entertain orders after that. It's just we have to check on the queue, so it might miss your deadlines. So these are great high impact pieces. I always have the philosophy, you're better off to light a small area really well than you are to thinly light a very large area. And this product does that. And often when people order one of these, there's a high likelihood that they will also be ordering regular lights to install on trees or roof lines. These draw crowds, and they attract other, traditional decor opportunities. These are made of aluminum, by the way, so they don't rust. They're very strong, and they have they're made with 24-volt DC lights and epoxy LEDs, so they're high quality products. For commercial, there's really two goals you have when you go after commercial jobs in the off season here. You want to leave the customer feeling better every single time you interact with them, and you want to basically set another meeting, because in another meeting, if you set another meeting with them, you have another opportunity to make them feel better yet again. So I love this quote. This is a quote. Someone said, I can't remember the person's name, but they said, good salespeople sell futures, great salespeople sell outcomes. Remarkable salespeople, however, they are selling feelings. And if you're able to set another meeting, that's another opportunity to sell a feeling. And why is this important? It's because people don't remember what you say, right? They remember how you make them feel. So other opportunities that you should be getting into in the off season here, obviously, is a wedding and event decor space. I strongly recommend reaching out to a lot of the locations in your city that host weddings and events in the summertime, and become a preferred vendor there. Get to know the space, know what's okay to attach lights to and what is not. By having each of these venues, when they have a preferred vendor, they know their property is going to be taken care of, and the installer isn't going to make a mess of their walls and leave a mark. So they like to work with just a few select vendors. Wedding parties you can go to as well. Just be very careful. I've had my wheels turned so many times with Bridezillas, and I would exhaust approaching the wedding venues first, and then start talking to wedding parties maybe. But they'd kind of be at the last person to speak to, because they're a lot more difficult. In general, these are very general terms. They're generally a lot more difficult to work with, because it's just so personal. Another great person to reach out to are wedding planners. They also like to work with a small select few vendors. So if you get on their good side, and you do a couple projects with them, they in turn refer you other wedding planners. It's a very small community, and this can lead to a lot more work as well. Don't forget about festivals in your area. Take a look at your community calendar and see what opportunities there are to decorate, talk to the organizers, and work with them. These obviously change the mood of the venue, especially if it's at night, obviously in the evenings. And if they can rely on this type of lighting instead of high intensity halogen lights, it's a lot more enjoyable. So cultural festivals, food festivals, music festivals, those are all great options to look up in your community. Of course, you've got your Independence Day or Canada Day celebrations as well, which are great opportunities. So patios. Now, this is a large opportunity as people right now are getting ready to set up their patios as the weather gets warmer. Where you'll find these are in restaurants, hotels, business centers. Sometimes they have a lunch area that staff can enjoy outside. Golf clubs, yacht clubs, tennis clubs, any type of sports club really. And then sometimes stratas have or HOAs have common areas too that they can decorate. And of course, homes have patios. And I use the when I talk to somebody interested in patios, I tell them that, you know, for a relatively small amount of money, they can essentially double the living space of their home just by making it an attractive space to be outside. And so it has a really high return on investment for the homeowner. And most people resonate with that because they love their homes and they want to enjoy the outside of it, not just during the day, but throughout the evening as well, which is usually when they're home. And so to address this, we have this post system that we offer. So we offer these in kits of 10 posts if you want to even rent these out. But you can order them a la carte as well. So there's these 12-foot posts. They're high gauge. I think it's 3 millimeter thick steel, and they screw together. Not much play in it, so they stay very stiff. And then there's lots of options to fix it. So you can affix it to the ground with this auger. You can affix it to a deck with this base plate. Or if you don't want to affix it to anything permanently, it's just this temporary job, like for an event or a wedding. We have these tanks that you can place the post in, fill it with sand or water, and it will hold the lights up. To a point, you may need to counterbalance it with a stake, and so we have these auger stakes as well. These are stakes you twist into the ground. They're quite heavy steel. These stakes won't pull out, so you can rest assured that this is not going to fall over on your crowd. Yeah, some pictures of it here as well. We've got, okay, so here's a little bit of what rental, sorry, what the revenue might be for a rental. So a 10 post system, let's say you rent out all 10 posts. It's going to cost you maybe about $3,000 to buy it for your first time. And that includes the lights associated with it. So you got your posts and your lights, and these are delivered to you on a pallet. And your revenue for just one weekend, for example, could be you charge out, say, $65 a post. For the lights, could be maybe about a dollar a foot. So if we're looking at renting 10 posts and 100 feet of lights, that's about $750 for renting the product, another $500 in labor probably, and you're looking at about $1,250 in revenue just for the one event. And you own the product and you can rent it out again. So these are great revenue generators in the off season. So what the customers get from the summer decor is obviously get the beautiful look, and they get the sets the atmosphere. It's highly cost effective, as I mentioned before. They're easy to change up, remove if they don't want it throughout the winter time as well, and they want to put it away. As I mentioned, this doubles the living space of their enjoyment of their home, or can potentially. As you as a business owner, what you're going to get, what your value propositions for offering this are, is obviously is the off-season revenue. You've got this flywheel revenue, I call it. So stuff that you sell in the summertime, you're probably going to also sell them seasonal decor. Highly likely you'll sell seasonal decor as well in the wintertime. So, and then of course, if you're offering another service like pest control or lawn care or painting, obviously you can sell them on that as well. And then of course, people go to these patios, and it's a social gathering. And what do they do at social gatherings? They talk. And what they talk about? Things that are around them often. So when they notice your beautiful lights, it's probably going to get brought up about where they got that. And they will, and so word of mouth spreads pretty quickly with summer decor. The next thing we want to chat about is permanent lighting. This is probably the biggest thing to happen to Christmas lights since the introduction of LEDs. And if you're not getting into this space now, you're going to get left behind. It's coming. You know, we've been seeing numbers of around 30% of the inquiries are related to permanent lighting. And that's going to grow over the next little while. So who wants this permanent lighting? Well, obviously it's people who don't want to the reoccurring annual expense, and and maybe they didn't want holiday lighting before, but now they can actually justify the expense because they can enjoy it year round, right? And then there's also generally people who love their home, and you know who those people are who love their home. You can now walk down the street and you can pick out every single house that you know somebody loves that home. Okay, generally they've got clean windows, they've got fresh paint, they've got clean gutters, they've got a nicely or a clean driveway. So I mean, if you see a home like that, hang a door knocker and offer permanent lighting. They're so easy to pick out. And if you're already offering other services as well, you know who your customers are that love their home. And so people who are proactively, yeah, so you want people who are proactively keeping their home looking great, and they also want to uphold or even improve the property value. Potentially, they're going to sell. What we found too is that some construction companies are adding permanent lighting to the homes as well, like developers, and including it as a package with the home. It's just another upsell or another feature of the home that they can use to market, just to separate themselves from other homes and developers. So we've got also, yeah, as I mentioned, 30% of inquiries tend to be in this. I'm curious to know if what you guys have heard as well. If you agree with that, give me a thumbs up. Or maybe it's north of that, but it's obviously being heavily marketed on social media right now, especially with the likes of like Govee and some of those more Amazon type products. But obviously they don't last quite as long. And so what does the customer want from permanent lighting? Well, they really want a look and they want a convenience, right? Those are the two things we're selling every single time. You guys are not out selling Christmas lights or permanent lighting. You're selling two things. You're selling a look and a convenience. So what I mean by look is they want a clean and professional look. They want that look to be part of the home. They want it obviously paint match so it doesn't stand out during the daytime. And they can also get architectural lighting out of this as well. So a nice warm white color is helpful, and obviously that will improve the security around the home too. So those are some pretty great advantages and selling points. The other one is the convenience. Obviously, they're going to install this once. You've got an easy to use app to use with it. Of course, there's the support as well, which you can offer directly to your customer. Of course, we can offer it as well. And it's really just a set and forget product. So generally people only like to think about this once. What do you want from permanent lighting? Well, as a business owner, you're going to definitely want margins, which are gross margins can be around they're around the 50 to 60% gross margin range, depending on how much you're charging. They're going to want you're going to want as an installer is a simple installation. Some of these systems that are out there, you have to run parallel lines in order to inject power frequently, and it just makes it a little more tricky. And another thing you might care about is your branding. So we offer a white label option. So if you you don't want to go screaming some of the brands, some of these other brands that are selling permanent lighting, you don't have to. We can even add your own logo to the control boxes. So how much are people willing to pay? Is generally about the ranges we found is anywhere from $25 to $40 a foot. And so as I mentioned, these ranges are in the area of 50 to 60% on average. It's for gross margins, gross profit margins. So we have this sub brand of BSL called ChromaGlow. And there's actually two different options. There's a vinyl track option, and then we have a beta release right now of an aluminum track option, which we're doing a pilot project on right now. We'll be rolling this out in Q3. We'll be being stocked with it, but we're inviting some select installers to start experimenting with this now. So if you are interested, please do reach out to me and we can talk a bit more about it. So our Chroma Glow that we have on our site right now is it's released now. It uses a 24-volt system. It's a smaller LED. It's just 2 LEDs on it with a vinyl track, which is super easy to install and very cost effective. Generally, it costs you around $7 a foot, and yeah, your labor would be about $1.75 a foot on top of that if you're, say, billing out $30 an hour. Generally, it takes about 3.5 minutes per foot to install it, is what we found. So this beta release, as mentioned, is what we're calling Chroma Glow Pro. It's a 48-volt system, and it has 6 LEDs in it. There are 3 RGB ones, and there's 3 warm white pure white ones. And so by having the 6 LEDs, we're actually able to spread the wattage across more LED chips, so it's a lot more stable, way brighter. Ours are hovering around I think it was 1.3 to 1.5 watts, whereas a lot of the competitors run them at 0.96 watts. So they're by far the brightest ones on the market, and 48 volts has its advantages because the installation is way more simple. You can actually go 300 feet without having to inject power, whereas a lot of these other ones, you're going to need to inject power 80 feet. I think the other one was 120 feet or something like that I've seen out there. So yeah, great. It's just really simple. The cost is higher, obviously. There's charging, or your cost is going to be around $9.50 a foot to about $12 a foot. Labor takes a bit longer because you're working with aluminum track now. So it's about 4.8 minutes per foot to install that, or add another 240. So using a comparison of what a 12-volt system looks like, you can see here that you need to run parallel. It's hard to, I know this picture is quite small, but you need to run parallel power lines and inject them. Like this house on the left here has, in a 12-volt system, you'd have to inject power in 3 different places in order to make this work, which makes the installation a lot more complicated. A 20-volt system, you'll have to inject power on this home in about 2 different places. And then if you're running longer extension cords as well, you'll have to insert a signal booster in order to make the signal carry across an extension cable. So it just adds more accessories and makes it a little bit more complicated. Well, quite a bit more complicated. And then for the 48-volt system, this really just installs like your regular, your seasonal lighting. You've got your controller and power box maybe inside the garage, and you run extension cord to where the lights start, and you just start running it along and not really caring about running parallel cords. You might tap it off in a few places, but it's really straightforward here. So if you're interested in the Chroma Glow pilot program, I encourage you to reach out to us. The benefits are that you'll get 20% off with there's no minimums in terms of order sizes, yeah, whereas I know some of the other brands out there will have like a $10,000 or $20,000 first order minimum, whereas we don't require anything like that. We obviously get dedicated support. We'll give you a white label product too, so if you want your own branding on it, we can make that happen. And then as an early adopter, you'll be able to contribute toward the product design and upgrades. For example, we're working on an extension cable right now that you don't need to put a cover over top of, and that is UV resistant and will last on top of a rooftop for 20 years. So it's this is the feedback we've been getting, and we're tweaking the product just to make it a lot easier for you to install and make it highly profitable. Our Chroma Glow Pro, we have a regular ChromaGo, also comes with a display box. It's not laid out in a kit like this, but the ChromaGo Pro does have a case like this, so you can rock up to an installation or a consultation, I should say. Plug it in, light it up, show them the app. They'll see how bright it is. There's even a color swatch where you can hold it up to the trim of the house, and we can paint match it as well. So in summary here, is, really focus on building commercial, like in the off season here, but focus on building commercial customer relationships. That's what this is about. Every interaction, make the customer feel good, and leave the meeting with another meeting scheduled and another opportunity feeling good. At least that. And if you do get a no, then I can't tell you how many times we've changed that no into a yes by saying, hey, you know what? I know the budget's a concern. What if we just did this one tree in front of your entrance? What would you think of that? And they would usually they would go for that. And then obviously that just transpires into more work later on once they see how great it looks. Seek opportunities in the events and rental space. Just be careful, maybe shy away from speaking to wedding parties directly, but look towards the venues, and also look towards the wedding planners. Those are a lot easier people to work with. And then lastly, try ChromaGlow permanent lighting system. I think you'll be delightfully surprised at how easy it is to work with. And it's going to open up a huge market for you as well. I expect within the first, like right now, seasonal lighting represents about 90, maybe 80% of that revenue happens in the peak season in the winter, and you might be able to sneak by with maybe 10 or 20% in the off season. With permanent lighting, that will smooth out for you, which will dramatically help with cash flow. We could potentially see about 40% in the off season and maybe 60% in the peak season. So it's just a much more even revenue stream for you, which will help in growing your business as well. So a follow-up email, I'm going to send you a white label catalog. This is for your summer catalog for and lookbook. If you go, actually, I might just pull this up here right now. I'm just going to share this tab instead. So if you go to your Pro Installer Hub at the top here, there's a winter lookbook and there's a summer lookbook here. You can download this collection, and it showcases the products, talks about their value propositions, and you can show your customers that as well. There's a few other things in here you can have a look at, but I just wanted to highlight that for you. Let's go back to this one here. Oh yeah, also there's the 10 post decorator kit. I'll send you a link to that, and you can see it here, and it tells you what's inside of it, and it's got some more pictures in there, so have a look through that. The next thing is the we also offer a summer sample kit. So I'll send you a link to this. So if you just want to showcase to your customers what all the great options are for summer decor, we've got a little box that we can send to you, which has kind of one of each inside it, including these shades, mason jars, pendant lights, things like that, that are great options for selling in the off season. And then we've got a discount on that sample kit right now. Actually, David, I'll need to get you to extend that for me. I forgot to get you to do that, but we'll make that valid till the end of this month here if you want to order the the summer sample kit. Just use the code summer 2025, and you get a 20% off code for that. And then I'll send you. And then for Chroma Glow, if you're interested in the pilot project for the pilot program for the Chroma Glow Pro, I'll send you a link, and we have an onboarding session. It takes about 30 minutes to talk about that product. So let me know if you're interested in that. And then, of course, lastly, I'm going to send you a link to the Lighted Sculptures page, just because if you're talking to commercial customers, you might as well showcase this as well. And so let's go into that. This is the Lighted Sculptures page. If you go into your store here under commercial public spaces, there's an illuminated sculptures section here, and you can go through here, and we've got different categories. There's the Arctic related design ideas, and then we've also got more immersive opportunities where people can surround themselves in light, walk inside of them as well. And then we've also got wildlife category as well. Obviously, there's seasonal icons like snowflakes and stars. Those are available too. And then we do sell pole mounts. These are really popular amongst the municipalities, and we design and fabricate these as well. Okay, so have a look at that page and learn more about our custom illuminated sculptures. And just a reminder that we will be placing orders about May 1st for those. All right, thanks everyone for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your week. Look forward to seeing you next time.